Hi there and welcome to the channel. In this short video, I will show you 3 different ways to update your database, allowing your users to do it either through a table directly, through a form, or through a bulk update in your table. Let's go. Okay, so here you can see a table with information about invoices, number, totals, dates, status, the entities being paid to. So we will see 3 ways for users to update the underlying data for this. The first one, we will allow users to directly edit the table so that creates and triggers a query to update the database. First, you have to make sure that your columns are changed to editable. So here on the 3 dots, you will see the option if it's not, if it can be edited or not. Or you can also make them all editable at once by clicking here. Now let's create our query. Resource query, your database. I prefer the GUI for this. Select your table. What is the action type? I will bulk update by a primary key. Select the primary key in your table, which is ID, and we will select table to change set array variable. Now, if you right click on your table and view state, you'll see that you have at your availability 2 objects, change set array and change set object. These are very helpful for these kind of actions. So you can see here, change set array, a list of rows by index with modified cell values and primary key. Now we will save this. Before I do that, I will put an event handler that on success, it will trigger my underlying data so that it returns the updated information. And I will also always do this just as a precaution. I will select the table to clear change set. Sometimes doesn't work properly with Retool by default option, so I just want to make sure that that happens. Now, how to trigger it, the query. There's 2 ways of triggering it. The first one is a Retool option. Here on your table add-ons, you can have save actions, and in it you can decide which event handler, and in fact you see here the option to clear change set unsuccessful save. So basically what this does is whenever your user modifies a cell, it will offer here a button to save changes. And if the user clicks save, then it triggers your query. My query will then trigger the underlying query and it updates that. So that's one way of allowing users to modify it. So then they can actually select several columns and go here and put invoices, numbers, and so on. So they have different values and then they will save it. And this will trigger the save and it will update the database. Just for you to see how the change array variable looks like, if I go here, you will see here we have already 2 rows with different IDs and the rows that are being updated. Okay, now this is one option, but some clients or some people do not like the save button because they argue they may forget and they may make many changes and forget to click save and go to another page. So something you can do is I remove this save action from the table and I will an event handler which triggers change cell, and it's the same thing. It will trigger my query. So now here, as soon as the cell changes, it triggers the query and it does the rest. So here I can just go paid on. This is paid on July 10th, and it triggers the query and then returns back the value. This generates that 1 second lag here, waiting for your source to update. If you have a big data source and this takes a okay, now let's take a look at the second method for updating rows, which is through a form. Now my container is a tabbed container which has 2 views. In the second view, I will add a form that's connected to my table. So let's do that right now. I will go here, search for a form. I will add it to my container here, and I want my actual container, this container here. Oh, sorry, this already had a form, didn't it? Yes, this is already a form. in it. So I will generate from table. I will select table 2. Here it already allows you which columns you want to update. So let me see. Yes, 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 yes. And this will actually be a select. Entity status, currency, date, number input. Okay, also this is fine. I'll generate the form, and there you go. You can format it. I will leave it like that for now. You can see that it already has selected the data source as table 2 selected row, which is exactly what we wanted. So it will automatically add what information is already there. So I'll go back. I have this back button, which basically triggers a change of view in your container. And the table has this row action, edit invoice. So you can add it here, add the button, and then edit invoice. And as an action, click action, I have the container, set current view key, view to, or whatever key you want to decide. So when you do this, the user will select the row. Let's see, invoice number 54. I click on invoice, and then it automatically takes them to the form, and it will put all of the information already available there. Here I would have to update all of my options. Let's do it really quickly. So it's paid, and then I'll just leave the labels for now as that. Just waiting payment, not due, and then delayed. Right. And then in my entity, let's say I will have my company Ltd or my partnership LLP. Right. So now we have those options here. Right. So now the form already comes with a submit button and form to submit, and then event handler. Sometimes it adds you a handler, but it hasn't done it. So we will do that now. We will add another query, and it's again the same thing, and it's exactly the same. You will select invoices, but here you will update an existing record. ID, it will search which ID is equal to, and here we'll select table 2, selected source row ID. And then the object will be form 1 data. I think, is it a form 1? Yes, form 1 data. So you can see here, it already takes all of the information from my form. The columns are already matched with my table because that's how the IDs in my table, in my Retool table are. So I can save this here. We'll do the same. We will put the event handlers and we will trigger the invoices data. And then I will also, we will also put another one to a control component, and it will be our container, and then just put the key, and we will go back to view 1. Save. So now we can put, this is going to be an invoice for $500, and it's due the 19th, right? And it's actually, entity is going to be for my company Ltd. So once you click submit, of course, I forgot to connect the button. So what it will submit, it will be query 3. That's right. So you submit this, and it will run the query. It will update it, and you can see here it has updated my company total. I think it resetted the amount. So let's just see why that's not working properly. So if I split $500 again and submit, there you go. Now that has updated. This is another form updating your value. Okay, and finally, let's see another way to allow users to update the same 1 or 2 columns for the same value in one go. So for this, I have a split pane frame where I have added, let me show it to you here. Actually, let's do something before that. So I will, on the table, we will select row selection multiple to allow users to select multiple rows. And when that happens, what I've done is my split pane frame, I've hidden it so that unless there's more than one option selected, it doesn't appear. So at the moment you have more, you have this coming up. So, and I have 2 for now, just for these purposes, 2 rows, 2 components to update status and entity. So basically users will select all the rows that they want to update and select which value they want to update, click enter, and this will update all those columns for all of those rows selected. For this, we have just created a transformer, which will prepare the data. So it gets the selected row keys. That's a variable that you have in your table with all of the keys. So you can see here, selected row keys, and those are my tables like this. And then I get a new value, select one value and select two value, these components here. And then I just create the array. It will conditionally add the status if it's not null and the entity, so that they don't have to actually add anything, but it doesn't mess with the already values there. So if, just to make an example, if I put here paid and you view the preview, you'll see my array for the update. So here it goes the same. You create a new query, or actually I could update this query here as well, but I won't do that here. I could be dynamically so that it rates whether there's one more row selected, but let's just create another one for this. And it's just exactly the same thing. Invoices, bulk update, ID, and then I will select my bulk update data value, and you'll see the array here. Save. I will put my event handlers to trigger my invoices data, and then another one to my table clear change set. Although actually there's not going to be any change set there, so that's not needed. Delete. Save. So now I'm just going to do a test here. Let's going to put this here, and we're going to select this, this, and this, and this. And we're going to say is mark them to paid and pay them to my company. Let's see if this is already, no, it won't be form button query for. Great. So if we click on this, it runs the query and then it updates all of them and the select is there. All right. I hope you have enjoyed this and this proves helpful for you.